Okay.
Yeah. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. We are now going to go. So having had that kind of interlude, I would like now to go and create a theory of personhood with respect to this person, with respect to this model. So we're going to go add a person class. How do we do that in this model? Anyone remember?
Yeah, you go to palette on main.
Okay, we can do it with palette.
Okay.
We can do it with palette, and in fact, we could add in an agent class.
But there's a better way.
Well, there's a way I find more natural,
Sure.
as I am wont. It's okay. We're adding a theory of personhood to what? To the model. So we can right-click and we could say new agent type. I find it a little bit strange, the idea that you drag in something from the palette menu that then doesn't immediately get added to the canvas. Instead, it just gets added as a theory of personhood. So we're going to call this person, and finish that. Okay, here's person. Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to expand our visual repertoire. Okay, we're going to add an image for this person that's more evocative from yesterday. Yesterday we were reduced to circles. Today we will move beyond circles in many ways. So for person, we're going to go to the palette and we're going to avail ourselves of the pictures area. And there's a person here, okay? And for this person area, I would like to go and I would like to drag in person up here. Now remember, I'm putting it at the crosshairs because that will mean that its visual location will be would be the same as its logical location. Okay, we're going to put it in the crosshairs. Okay, ladies and gentlemen. Sorry?
I think it's in a different.
That plus sign.
Oh yeah, you may need this plus sign to add this in. There are times where you won't see a picture, so you folks don't see that.
Got it.
In which case you could do plus and add it in. For example, right now in mine, there are certain ones that are not shown, and like it is down towards the bottom. It's this one here. But if you don't see it, you can do plus and you can make sure it's selected. Okay?
Okay.
Is there actually 3D objects? You want
Yeah, there are 3D pictures which you can use if you see fit, but I think we'll use the person, okay? From
you're not going to use
2D.
and just 2D pictures.
Okay. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, here's our depiction of a person. Okay. Okay. So here's our depiction of a person. Okay. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to now arrange these people. We're going to add a population of people. Now, mark my words. Take it from an old hand. It's much easier to add the visual representation of a person up front and then create the population from them than to do it after the fact. And this is an uncomfortable factoid that I just need to relate to you. So you'll notice that I am very careful adding a visual representation first thing, because once you add the population, if you then go back and add a visual representation only later to person, you have to go through a special ritual to update things, okay? Okay, so ladies and gentlemen.
If you don't, they don't associate.
Well, it actually just won't show it at first. What you need to do is to tell it, oh, I have a visual representation now, and then it realizes, oh, you got one? Okay, fine. Now I'll make it happy. But it's better to just put it in up front. Okay? Okay, ladies and gentlemen. So how are we going to add a population of people? How are we going to add that? With the population size as specified by a parameter. Let's go to Maine. Population lives in Maine. Oh, I have this graph here. Let me get rid of that. Boom. Okay. So go to Maine. How are we going to create a population of people in Maine? Yeah, we drag in from there. We drag in person, and I'm going to call it population. Okay? We dragged it in from there to here. Winchell, maybe I could seek your help up here. Thanks. Okay, so I drag this in. Now, does that by itself create a population of people? Maybe you could set this to avoid going back to the screen frequently, because it's a big pain for me to log in.
Okay.
So if you could set it to sit for 10, 15 minutes without it. Okay, so how do I turn this into a population of people? Is this a population right now? It says population. Is it a population? No,
We don't
it's
have any profile, we don't know how many there are. Right now, it's a single agent.
it's a single agent, so we need to turn into a population.
Oh, did you drag it from the person?
I did. I dragged it from person. Now, there's another way you can do it. You're right, Olga. But I dragged from person. I called it population, but we need to make it a population of agents. Okay, you folks are old hands at this. How am I going to make this population the population size depend on a parameter?
We need to create a population size parameter.
We need to create a population size parameter. From whence does that come? Yeah, the palette in the agent area. Okay, and whither does it go? It goes to Maine. Okay, population size. Okay, what sort of parameter is it? So what did I do? I went to palette, this agent area, the palette, and I dragged in parameter, and I call it population size. What sort of parameter is it? What's its type? Is it a double? Is it a double precision floating point number? It's an integer indeed. It's a count. Good. You folks are getting good. And we'll make it a default value of 100. Okay? Okay, great. Now, does that, just because we said population size, is it operational yet?
No,
What do we need to do?
put it in the initial number.
Yeah, put in the initial number of agents for population. Okay, Alan, prepare for deployment. Okay? Initial number of agents will be population size. In other words, rather than being a hard-coded value of 100, the number of agents we have will be given by this parameter. Okay? So that's a logical chunk of work. In reflecting that, let's build. Build early, ladies and gentlemen, build often. Okay, now I need to marshal my voice here. Can people in the back still hear me? You can still hear me okay? Okay. First class I ever taught. I taught a class at MIT in one of the old engineering buildings. These buildings are designed to hold heavy equipment. They were built in the mid 1800s, late 1800s.
And they never throw anything out.
And the floors are several feet thick, I think, of concrete. And I gave my class, and some colleagues of mine were very excited about it. They had an office in the building, and I thought they might come watch my class, but they didn't. And I was relieved because it was my first class, and I was a bit embarrassed. And I came down from my class, and they said, "Oh, that was a great lecture." I said, "What do you mean? I didn't see you." They said, "Oh no, we weren't there, but we could hear it." And I said, "What do you mean you could hear it?" They said, "Well, we heard it through the ceiling." And I said, "No way, there's no way." They said, "Every word." And they said it was a good lecture too. So my voice can carry, and I've got to make sure I don't burn it out. That's one of my challenges with these boot camps. Okay, so ladies and gentlemen, build early, build often. Boom, great. Okay, now, ladies and gentlemen, what will happen now if we run this model? Let's run it. I'm going to try to clue you into pathologies that you will commonly encounter in any logic. Okay, so we've just run this model. The model is running. Time is advancing. Does this model have a population, ladies and gentlemen? Yes, it does. You could see it here. It says population of size 100. If we click on this, it'll actually list out some of the people. If we go to the navigation menu, you can see there's 0 through 99.
They have no characteristics.
They have no characteristics other than an appearance, which is singularly the same. So, ladies and gentlemen, these people are there. They are just stacked atop of each other. So, again, rehearsing our knowledge from yesterday, where would we go if we wanted to distribute these people through space? I'm going to suggest to you the way that I find most natural. It's not the only way. Later we'll see other ways to do it. Where do we go?
Click on the person's face.
Okay, so
It's the main population.
okay, it's actually we go to the population, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, person describes theory of personhood. And they're gonna have a location, ladies and gentlemen, for sure. But if we want to specify the particulars, the particular sex, the particular, income, the particular age for a particular person, if we want to specify their location, we go to the population in which they're embedded. So let's go to population, and where do we specify their location here? This is a tried and true method because it works for open populations too, when people come in, unlike another popular method. We actually go to initial location. Maybe it's collapsed right now, but we need to open it, and we need to specify in the specified point. Okay? In the specified point. Now, does anyone remember what we put yesterday for X and Y locations? You would put uniform. And
0 to 500 or something?
yeah, so we did 0 to 500. But, yesterday, now you folks are big boys and girls. This is a little bit fragile. In general, when we're hard coding values, we're counting on it being a fixed value. Later we may go change the size of the space, and this will still say 500. We'll have to remember to go change this accordingly. So it's better to put in something that, instead of saying 500 and wondering where that number came from, we're going to ask what's the size of the space, okay? So I'm going to say this dot space, okay? Space width. Remember, autocomplete is your friend. So if you're typing this by longhand, you shouldn't be. You should be typing uniform, okay? And we'll choose this one between 0, this dot space, and you could choose space width. Now, I want to provide some explanation, ladies and gentlemen, as to what this means. So I am asking it, hey, determine. So what this is going to do is it's first going to determine the space width. And this thing called this, that's referring to, I'm in Maine right now. So it's referring to me in Maine. I'm asking myself, hey, what's my space width? So I say this, meaning for me. And that's Maine up here, okay? And we're saying, get my space width. And that's going to be some number. And then we're going to draw a value between 0 and that number, uniformly distributed. Okay? So mark my words there. We first are going to determine the space width here. And then having determined that, that's going to be some number. And we're going to draw the value in a uniform distribution between 0 and that number. Does that make sense? Are people okay with that?
It is on, like I'm getting powered.
Oh, you know what? Plug it into the side ones, not, we've.
Okay.
We've already filled up the side one, so I
Okay,
have,
in that case,
I have the
I'll
phone
go
on,
to the further
I
up.
have the phone in the master, and it says master enabled, so it should be working.
Okay.
Yeah, but you see, it's not turning on. So there's no, it's getting no power, yeah, it's getting no power.
I'm just caught.
Okay.
They're all caught with you.
Sorry about that.
Tell you what, why don't we declare a health break and we'll sort this out. We haven't had a health break and I think we need them. Well,
My computer's definitely on.
okay, tell you what, let's just run this. Let's get this at a logical break, okay? Let's do this space. Winchell, why don't let's pause this for a moment. This is going to be less than 5 minutes. We'll stop it.
Okay, sure.
Okay? So let's change this to space width for this one and space height. So again, mark my words. It's very useful to learn how to read these expressions. What this is saying is we're going to ask my space width. We're going to get a number, and then we're going to draw. It kind of executes it from inside out, so we're going to get that number, and then we're going to draw, okay, from a uniform distribution between 0 and that number, okay? And the same thing for space height here. So this will mean if we go and we change what the width is of the space or the height elsewhere, it'll automatically sort of use the appropriate value. And I wanted to teach you this, okay? Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, let's what's that? and now we should see something like this. So let me put that up there on the big screen. This was for X. And ladies and gentlemen, for Y, we did this. Okay? Okay. Okay? Are we okay with that? Okay. So now we've distributed these people in space. That's good. And it seems to work here. Okay. So now we're about to go in a radically different direction, and I think we'll have a break now, and let's come back in 5 minutes, and we'll continue on with inserting a state chart. Okay, we'll give people some dynamics, and within about the next 2 hours, we're going to have interacting state charts where one will influence the other. So even if you've seen state charts before, this may be new to you to have interaction between the state charts. Okay, so I hereby declare a break for 5 minutes. Yeah.
Oh, wait, can we unplug something like?
Yeah, it is better. It is better. Yeah. Very good. Thank you, Winchell. That's great. Fantastic.